You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Come on, Charlie Brown. I'll hold the ball and you kick it.
Hold it? Ha! You'll pull it away and I'll land flat on my back and kill myself.
But Charlie Brown, it's Thanksgiving.
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, one of the greatest traditions we have is the Thanksgiving Day football game. And the biggest, most important tradition of all is the kicking off of the football.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Come on, Charlie Brown. It's a big honor for you.
Well, if it's that important, a person should never turn down a big honor. Maybe I should do it. Besides, she wouldn't try to trick me on a traditional holiday. This time I'm gonna kick that football clear to the moon!
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. Happy Thanksgiving. It's also Tech Thursday here on Later with Mo Kelly. And, of course, that means Marsha Collier joins me. Marsha, happy Thanksgiving to you. And how are you this evening?
I'm full. I am totally full. It's like way too much food.
Way too much food, and we do it to ourselves every single year.
Yeah, but it's delicious. And, you know, it's the food, it's the family. You have to weigh side to side which is better.
Yes. I had a wonderful dinner earlier this evening. You know, working in radio, you got to eat a little bit earlier, especially if you have an evening or night job. But I'm a little different than most folks. I will eat all my food at that one sitting for Thanksgiving. And I enjoy it. I really love it. But I'm not taking any to-go plates with me. I'm not.
Mo, we've talked about this before. I know. And folks, Mo does not like leftovers. He is not one of those people who likes to dive into the refrigerator the next morning and eat some cold turkey and stuffing. Or even make that delicious turkey sandwich.
No.
With the gravy, and lots of people love it because you got leftover biscuits and everything. But generally, there are a lot of leftovers, admittedly, on the holiday.
There are. We always over-prepare.
And I wanted to know what can I do? Because I personally, I'm not a big fan of wondering what's crawling around in my food in the refrigerator, because it has been sitting on the table for quite a while. But I found a website called bakespace.com, and they have an AI program built into their website right now, and it's free to use. And you're kind of going to love this because I thought it was great. You put into the AI, you've used ChatGPT, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you ask BakeBot and you ask it, okay, I've got some green beans. I've got half a cup of green beans left. I've got gravy. I've got stuffing. Of course, I have turkey. You know, what can I do with this to make it palatable and safe to eat again? And believe it or not, this AI is quite amazing that it comes up with ideas, which I'm going to tell you. But one of the other great things it does is if you're preparing a dinner and you go, oh no, like I don't have enough butter. What can I do? You go to this AI and say, I'm making stuffing. I don't have enough butter. Is there an oil? Is there something I can put in it? And it will suggest, it'll ask you, you know, what do you have in your cupboard? And it will suggest the exact amount of, let's say, olive oil to substitute for the butter.
Okay.
So as a cooking tool, it's really great. In general principles, if you want to cook something, you can tell it what you've got in the refrigerator right now, and it will come up with a meal for you.
I have a question. Is there anything I can put in the prompt which will give me the answer to make the food taste exactly like it did the night before, and then maybe I'll start eating leftovers? Is there anything in there like that?
Actually, yes.
Oh.
You can. It's AI, and this is the announcement, folks. This is the first AI that I've ever used that I really think has benefit to regular people like us. Because let me give you some examples, okay?
Okay.
Because this is what shocked me. It came up with, and I'm showing Mo 2 pages of meals that BakeBot came up for me for my food. Now, are you a sweet or a savory person?
I am a savory person, but I don't mind some sweets. I do not like them mixed together.
Oh, same. We're such Sagittarius, like the same.
Yes.
By the way, happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
Me too, next week. All right, for breakfast, came up with a slew of ideas. Thanksgiving waffles. Mix mashed potatoes and stuffing together and press them in a waffle iron. Top with gravy and a fried egg. Now you're cooking your food, you're getting rid of the germs, and believe me, I have made stuffing in a waffle iron, and it's great.
Stuffing in a waffle iron. I mean, it sounds unconventional, but the more you think about it, yeah, it's another way of cooking it. It makes sense.
Well, why do you think I'm on this show? I make on Thanksgiving my stuffing in a waffle iron, put that at the bottom, then layer the turkey over it, and put the gravy over that. It's delicious because it crisps all the way around in the waffle iron. Okay, Thanksgiving hash. Saute onions and bell peppers if you have them, and you tell the bot what you have in a skillet. Then add chopped turkey stuffing, a bit of gravy, crack a few eggs on top, and cover the eggs and cook to your liking. I'm reading you folks right from the bot. Now, if you're a sweet person for breakfast, how about cranberry parfaits? Layer cranberry sauce with whipped cream and granola or crushed ginger cookies. Or you can use yogurt if you have. That's when we're talking about these hot meals. Turkey cranberry quesadillas. Spread cranberry sauce on a tortilla, layer with sliced turkey and stuffing, and grill until crispy. Serve with a side of gravy for dipping. Thanksgiving stir fry. Chop up your leftovers and toss them in a hot skillet with some oil, soy sauce, and veggies like broccoli and snap peas. I mean, we're making meals and we're recooking the food. So in my mind, whether it's reality or not, once we're recooking it, we are killing a lot of anything that might have been growing on it.
But also you're repurposing the food into something completely different. It's not the traditional just turkey sandwich. You're actually creating completely new meals.
Exactly. And this one I think you'll love. Sweet potato and turkey shepherd's pie. Layer turkey, veggies, and gravy in a baking dish, topped with mashed sweet potatoes, and you bake it until bubbly and golden. I mean,
that wonderful.
Sounds like a meal. Yeah, it sounds like a meal. Pumpkin pie trifle. Layer cubes of leftover pumpkin pie with whipped cream, crushed ginger snaps, and a drizzle of caramel sauce. Repeat layers to fill a trifle dish and add a sprinkle of cinnamon. I mean, I could go on because, like I said, I have 2 pages of this, but I'd rather you guys go to it because it's free. Bakespace.com has been on the internet for over a decade, way back since the MySpace days, and she's been building this community. It's Bebek Pepage, and now she's integrated the AI. And for those of us who are not the most inspirational of cookers, which I am not at all, it gives you ideas because honestly, my Thanksgiving meals are kind of boring. You got your green beans, you got your potato, but by putting the ingredients in there, you can see that it comes up with ideas of things that apple pie turnovers. Use leftover apple pie filling to make quick turnovers. Cut puff pastry into squares, fill with apple pie filling, fold over into triangles, bake till golden and flaky. Boom. You've just taken care of leftover apple pie. Pecan pie bread pudding. Tear up leftover pecan pie and mix with a custard of eggs, milk, and a touch of vanilla. Bake until set and golden for a rich and decadent bread pudding. I mean,
I don't know how many people you have inspired, Marsha Collier, but you've inspired a lot of people. Now, some who are listening right now are in the middle of their dinner, or they're finishing up their dinner, but now they can look ahead to tomorrow, Black Friday, and get their whole day of meals going thanks to you.
And it's fun. And it's fun. You could go in there and just throw in ideas. It might even ask you if you have something in the house, a particular thing that you could add to it. And it's a very creative thing. And it's the first AI that I actually believe in.
We're making history here. The first AI that Marsha Collier actually believes in. Now that we're getting on the other side of the Thanksgiving holiday, and of course, as we move into Black Friday, people are going to be shopping far beyond their means, most likely. They'll have packages delivered to their front doorstep. The porch pirates will be out there. Marsha Collier, on the other side of this break, can you offer any advice as to better protecting our front porches?
Yes, absolutely. There are things we can do, but nothing's perfect. So let's talk about that when we get back.
All right. It's Later with Mo Kelly. Happy Thanksgiving to you. If you're listening right now, we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app on this Thanksgiving. I hope your Thanksgiving day and dinner have been wonderful. But now, as we're getting later into the evening, people are changing their direction and thinking about maybe Black Friday. Maybe they've already left the house, going somewhere to do some shopping. Maybe you're staying home and doing some shopping. I say all that to say that packages will be arriving on people's doorsteps for the next few weeks for any number of reasons as we go through the holiday season. Marsha Collier, I know that porch pirates are awaiting this moment just like us. In the way that we're waiting for our packages, they're waiting for our packages.
I'm so glad you're giving this big intro because, like, I'm sitting here burping from my dinner. I'm saying, oh, I hope he doesn't stop.
True story. Live radio at its best.
Right? Exactly.
Marsha, you know where I'm going with this. What can we do?
Well, you see these videos. We've seen the rash in Southern California of people intercepting delivery people and saying they're the household owner with fake ID and taking the boxes. I'm afraid that's something UPS is going to have to handle themselves. We can't handle that. But here are some things you can do. Let's say it's Amazon, because I default to Amazon. If what I want is sold at Amazon, I'd rather buy it from Amazon because I know it's going to be here. I know their return policy. I'm happy with it. So when you check out from Amazon, you have the option of selecting an Amazon day. This could be a day where you know your neighbor's going to be home and you make a deal with your neighbor beforehand that they'll be watching out for your packages, you'll be watching out for theirs, and set the Amazon day. It can be any day of the week. You can pick it. And plus, you often get saver credits when you pick a day like this that go towards digital purchases, which is a whole other thing we can talk about. But it will suggest a delivery day. And bing, just click it. And you can even make your Amazon day your preferred delivery day for future orders. If you know somebody, doesn't work on a Wednesday, they're in the house, or your neighbor's across the street, that's perfect. Also, I like this one a lot. Send to remote pickup locations. This is also on your checkout, and you have to look for these things. You can't just whiz through the checkout. What you'll see, and it's not just Amazon, they'll offer access to a remote pickup location. Mine mentions a local independent pharmacy, which is kind of great. Go over there and pick up aspirin or something. But you can select from a list of places that are close to you. Like I'm near a university. They have lockers there for deliveries, not just Amazon.
Yep.
That are open to the public. And you select one of those. And it gives you a code once the product has been delivered. And you go, if it's a locker type thing, put in the code that you were given. So you see how secure this is. It's not just a matter of somebody can go in and take your stuff. You've got a code. And then you go to the pickup location and use the code. And talking to actual people, which is difficult for me, but you can go to that local pharmacy. Now, here's one I'm not wild about, but that's me. And it's garage deliveries.
Oh, yeah. I know about this, but I'm not going to steal your thunder. Please go ahead.
Well, Amazon has a deal, and they use the Chamberlain MyQ Smart Garage Hub. So you'd have to have that or an Aladdin Connect. And these are things they have a certain group of drivers. It's not your regular everyday driver who handle garage deliveries. And they have the codes. And I would assume these people are extra vetted and, a part of the team. And they use these devices to remotely open your garage and stack your boxes in it and close your door. And supposedly it's safe. I mean, it's in your garage. And if this is something you'd like to do, Amazon will add a $1.99 fee for opting into garage delivery on a non-Amazon delivery slot. So you can pick. I don't think it's a bad idea. If you're in the office 24/7, I would still opt for picking up at the local pharmacy, at the local store, who has an Amazon box.
It's not a terrible idea, and it may fit some people's lives. I just bristle at the idea of giving someone access.
Yeah, I don't
house.
I don't like that at all. I'm just, because if something goes missing, something happens, the first thing you're going to think is it's, how our minds work.
Yeah, I got to put a camera in my garage now to monitor who's in my garage.
We already have a cam. My husband put a camera in the garage. I really don't get it, but okay, there's a camera in the garage. Speaking of cameras, that's another thing you can do. Having that Nest doorbell or Ring doorbell or whatever, there's a lot of different brands. Put it near where packages are delivered. If it's a doorbell, put it on the doorbell spot. But you can put a camera up above that will take pictures and the person won't know they're being photographed, or put it on the side. Put it in an invisible location. Or we have an indoor camera that's pointed to the front door. So, because we don't have indoor cameras in our house, but we have them pointed outside, and some are indoors. So they can't be tampered with. That's another thing with all these outdoor cameras. A little spray paint on those round cameras is really going to disable everything.
Right. And they're not coming up to reveal who they are. They probably will have their face covered to begin with. Exactly.
So they'll cover, but they won't be able to get the ones that you have inside the window. And we've found that to be really secure. The video doorbell, of course, but the problem again is we were broken into in our backyard. They broke the lock and came into our backyard and stole some stuff. Yay, we had pictures of them.
Yeah, you got to see them do it.
Right, exactly. And unfortunately, the police department is very busy. And yeah, so I filed the police report just because I wanted it to be on the police reports, and that was a thing. But the video doorbell, you can talk to people. An interesting thing my husband did install that I think was rather cute. It's a motion-sensitive audio player. Yes. So if anybody walks up to a car in our driveway, he says, "You're about to be internet famous. This is a live cast to the internet of you messing with my wife's car." So
all great advice and tips about how to better protect not only your house, but packages which may be arriving at your house and your valuables in and around your house, including your car, your backyard.
We have to do it these days. It's reached a point where we have to take things into our own hands.
Got to do it. Marsha Collier, I'm out of time right now. I hope you've enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I know I've enjoyed mine, and we have to do this again next week.
We're going to do it again next week, but let's skip the big meal.
Oh, guaranteed. I can only do this every now and then.
Okay. I started my day with BLTs this morning and watching the Macy's parade. I do that every year.
That is a great tradition to have. I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon, Mo. Happy Thanksgiving to you, to Walla, and everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
What a wonderful day! What a wonderful day! What a wonderful day! What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day! To build a kingdom, one must conquer. What a wonderful day!
They destroyed my village. Took my family. I will find them. I will bring them home.
Say these words.
I know where they're taking your clan.
She knows their secrets. Together you will die.
No, together strong.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Set several generations in the future, following Caesar's reign, apes are living harmoniously as the dominant species. As a new tyrannical ape leader builds his empire, one young ape undertakes a harrowing journey that will cause him to question both the past and future for apes and humans alike. Such sets the stage for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, now on digital, streaming on Hulu. Joining me now on the show are two of its stars, Ika Darville, who starred as Silva, the 400-pound silverback gorilla and chief henchman of the villain Proximus Caesar, and Peter Macon, who was Raka, the wise orangutan. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Good.
Peter, let me start with you. The original Planet of the Apes movies were, of course, an allegory for the racial strife of its time. But I would say that this iteration is more about our time. It's talking about the ideas of religion, how history should be taught, and also the role of science and their collective competition. When you were reading the script, what came to mind for you, Peter?
I'm right there with you. And I would also posit in like the role of climate change. Throwing that in there too. Like, these are the realities that we are facing. And so when I read the script, like the religion, like there's a saying that stories and allegory and fables tend to outlive the truth. And I think we're living in this age of overstimulation or we're just super saturated with stimulation and how we get information. And of course, post-COVID, so these are all sort of things that are existing in our consciousness and things that are part of the permanent zeitgeist now that were different than when the other earlier films were coming through. So when I read the script, I'm like, okay, so this is yet a continuation of like, this is almost like a morality tale. You know what I mean? If we don't get ourselves together and figure out how we can coexist on this planet together as human beings, like we are going to no longer be the top of the food chain. I often say that if polar bears had thumbs, it'd be a wrap for human beings because, they could, systematically deal with how climate change is affecting their melting lands, or, just basically that human beings, we need to figure out. And with the invention of this well-intended but yet faded virus, it was intended to help Alzheimer's, which is something that we, I applaud the human beings in terms of our innovation and trying to solve the mysteries of the universe, but we tend to, we're messy. And, when you make mistakes like that on a grand scale and this thing has turned into a virus that's made human beings really dumb. So right. I think that there's a lot of all of that in there. So when I read this script, I'm like, okay, this is the mirror. This is yet a continuation of, like all of the issues that you spoke of before, but also, what happens to us as a species if we don't figure out how to A, coexist with our environment, and B, get along with each other, and the rest of the rest of the animal world.
Ika, I think about the physicality of your character, Silva, and how you had to convey what seemed would be difficult from where I sit, because it's not animation. You have to make people feel the physicality of your character. You don't control the special effects, but you control your performance. What type of physicality did you have to bring to the role?
Great question. I am not a 365-pound silverback gorilla. So in order to embody that kind of size, I'm not a small guy, but I'm not huge either. And And so it was an amazing practice to step into the part of me that is super dominant, and how to create domination of space and intimidation through this character with a smaller physicality than Silver actually has. And I had the best of the best coaching me on how to do that, with Andy Serkis coming in and who developed the original technology on how to work with motion capture, and obviously created Caesar. And so, I had a lot of help from a lot of different people, and that was absolutely necessary to be able to find the physicality of something that feels so physically different from me.
Peter, a similar question for you. How much do you get to personally communicate through your own facial expressions? There's makeup, there's CGI, and there's that booming bass voice of yours, which obviously cuts through. But the subtleties of the character, what were you able to bring to the performance?
That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that, because one of the struggles that I had, this being unlike any other shoot that I've done, where you can go back to Video Village and you can watch the last take and sort of take notes and help shape your performance and get information on what you were doing and how you can work technically, with whatever shot they had going. With this, that was out the window. Like you go back. I mean, I stopped going back to look at playback unless I was asked to, because the information that I was looking for, I couldn't get, because it's just us in performance capture suits. And that wasn't helpful at all. So at the end of the day, it brought me back to like being on stage, which is a lot of my career has been on stage. And so there's just a matter of being ensconced in the scene with my scene partners and doing it as if, and forgetting that I had all of this GAC on and all this equipment on. And in my mind, I'm an orangutan. I'm speaking differently. I have different vocal qualities. I have different, syntax. I have different, patterns, and also even like with the physicality and just it's a lot of imagination work, and then just letting the acting do the work. You know what I mean? And trusting that I'm giving my scene partners what they need, and just keep it pushing after, and just getting out of my head and out of my own sort of, vanity space of like, oh, how do I look and all this business. It was just really a matter of, am I communicating accurately as an ape or as accurately as possible as an orangutan, and am I communicating what I need to my scene partner, and just letting the rest of it, let Jesus take the wheel, It's
pretty hard to buy into the vanity too much when you're wearing a grey suit covered in dots and a skin tight suit clean shaven with a helmet on. Like you don't look very cool.
Well, speaking of not looking very cool, I think that tees up my next question, Ika, because I have about 2 decades on you in age. So I grew up watching the original movies. I remember those bad rubber suits and how difficult it was to suspend your disbelief many times that you're actually looking at Apes. But I do wonder.
Why? What you saying? What you saying about
that? I think it was easier for me to believe the story which was on screen that you have embodied. And that leads me to my next question. Did you, as an actor, go back and watch some of the original movies, or did you think that it'd be better if you didn't, so you could have just a completely blank tableau or slate for this?
No, I think you would be doing yourself a disservice if you don't study the material that's already available. I obviously went back and watched all the films, and there's amazing things that you can pull from in it. And yes, the technology has advanced. I just think we're at this amazing nexus point where the capability of the motion capture technology has now arrived at a similar place where our storytelling skill sets and Wes's imagination can kind of be brought to life in a real way. Yeah, I don't think leaving a blank slate, because this is helpful, because this is such a rich franchise from a historical perspective. I think it is one of the oldest, if not the oldest and longest running franchise in the world. So it's amazing to be a part of what is an ongoing iterative story that just captures the imagination of humanity, kind of in a very almost subconscious way, because I think it speaks to things that we're not even aware of questions that we're asking ourselves. So
my guests right now are Ika Darville, Peter Macon, both co-stars of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, now on digital, streaming on Hulu. I'll have more with them on the other side of the news break.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
As I'm talking to two of the stars of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, now available on digital, streaming on Hulu, Ika Darville, who played Silva, and Peter Macon, who played Raka, both join me now on the show. Peter, let me pick up there. When I watched the original movies, I remember feeling this despair. There is never any real hope that I felt in watching the movies. In a tonality sense, it seemed like there was that same level of despair here, but with a little tinge of hope at the end. I'm not going to give it away for those who haven't seen it. You'll have the chance to see it now that it's available to stream on Hulu as we talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But I wonder, Peter, did you ever feel as if that there was no hope, real hope for the larger story of humans and apes coexisting?
No. I think that Raka resonates with audiences for precisely that reason. I think that Raka represents, or if you know, in a symphony of notes, he represents this notion of hope. And it's not just, it's hope for coexistence. It's hope for human beings like to be elevated back to a status of equality, and apes to be on par with that equality with human beings. Like Raka represents like the voice of Caesar. Mm-hmm. So, this movie, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, is almost like in a bronze age of technology, but it's also in a bronze age of consciousness. Like the human beings are back in caves essentially, and the apes are splintered and trying to decipher their identity. And so you have like the Eagle Clan, who are very sort of myopic, and they're very almost like libertarians. And then you have like Proximus Caesar's camp, who, for better or for worse, he's not actually that wrong, because he understands through his consciousness, and having been read to by a human being and taught human history, that human beings, if they get their shot, they'll put us back in cages. And so Raka represents like this sort of middle ground between that. And that's unlike, Maurice in the past three films sort of represented that, but Raka really is that voice of coexistence. And I think that is a breath of fresh air in like this landscape of it's not a great time.
Long before your elders, it was Caesar who taught us what it means to be ape. He was our leader, our lawgiver. Apes together, strong. Ape shall not kill ape. We, the order of Caesar, follow his words to this day. We believe apes built this as a refuge for humans. Now it is rare to see even one, but in Caesar's time there were vast herds of them. And perhaps here humans were cared for, fed, maybe even taught. What is it?
Echo.
Human.
They are scavengers. Like boars, only lesser.
Humans are slow-witted, but there was a time when humans and apes lived side by side. Yes, it is a puzzle. I know.
Ika, let me come back to you. In this nerd universe, and I think it's all connected, some may know you from your time on Jessica Jones. Peter, some may know you obviously from the Orville. This question is for both of you as we're getting close to the end. Do you find in doing roles like these, where you're not visually recognizable, that fans still recognize you? Ika, let's start with you.
Yeah. First, thanks for the shout out on Jessica Jones. Such an amazing group of people on that. And on this one, it's been interesting to watch that. Like, people who know, but it's few and far between. It's amazing to be like driving around LA. I live just north of LA, and there's billboards absolutely everywhere for your movie. And it's just kind of like I'm just like the other guy walking past the bus stop, and it's like it's kind of surreal, and so I actually really like it because I'm not I don't know. I find like I value anonymity, and so I think there's something really beautiful in that. But I also do kind of. There is that little part of me that's like, man, you have no idea who I am. Like, that's me on the poster. And so, yeah, both.
Yeah. Like I have a very similar experience too. Like I go and like I've gone to see the movie, and it's just so fun to be sitting there, and nobody knows at all who I am. When I'm just listening to like the people. And then there were times where I was at Target one time, and this woman was like, "Are you Peter Macon?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's like just like your voice. I didn't know it was that distinct. So, but I too value anonymity, and it is really fun, to just the giant 50-foot billboards of yourself all over the place, or it's not the same, and then what's really great about that is that it allows. I think it allowed, like when people say they love the movie or they love your work, it's like my vanity is stripped away from the whole equation, and so it really is like I really love doing character work, and I feel appreciated for that as opposed to like, oh, you're a celebrity and like we know you, but we don't, we know what you look like or whatever. I mean, it's just a whole different conversation. So it's just about the work, which is great.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, now on digital, streaming on Hulu. You've been listening to the bass voice, and it's actually, I'm really, really jealous of Peter Macon's voice.
It made no sense when I was 15 years old. So just know.
and also you have this guy, Ika Jarville, who's very handsome. I'm jealous in that regard. I wish I was like 25, 30 years younger, but life is not fair.
Mike, don't crack, baby. You can be 25 right now.
Ika's 62, right?
Exactly.
Peter, Ika, thank you for coming on this evening. Congratulations on your success, and I look forward to seeing you and hearing you in the future.
Appreciate you, fam.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI and iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.